This is a panorama documentary about the Chinese battlefield in the Second World War. This war is also known as the Second Sino-Japanese War. In recent history, there had been two wars between China and Japan. The first war was fought in 1894, and the Qing Empire was defeated. But in the second war, which was fought in 1931, the Republic of China won the final victory in the final 8 critical years from 1937 to 1945. The documentary has faithfully recorded the bitterness and heroism of the soldiers of the Republic of China in the war, especially during the 8 years from 1937 to 1945. Our story begins at midnight on July 7, 1937. The Japanese troops claimed that one of their soldiers was missing and demanded to enter the Wanping fortress to search for the missing soldier. After being refused by the Chinese soldiers guarding the fortress, the Japanese troops launched an attack on Wanping. The Marco Polo Bridge incident broke out. Afterwards, the Japanese troops attacked Beijing and Tianjin. Chiang Kai-shek, Commander-in-Chief of the Chinese National Revolutionary Army, addressed his army and showed the determination to fight the Japanese invaders to the end, since peace became hopeless, which signified the eruption of the Second Sino-Japanese War. For 8 years from 1937 to 1945, to defend their nation and country against the Japanese invaders, the Chinese army fought 22 major battles, 1,117 mid-sized battles, and 38,931 small battles. 21 generals, 73 lieutenant generals, and 167 major generals died in the battles. 3.2 million officers and soldiers of the Chinese army were killed or missing. 2,468 planes of Chinese Air Force were crashed. 4,321 pilots sacrificed their lives. 104 ships and warships of the Chinese Navy were ruined and completely annihilated. With video clips of war and interviews of veterans who participated in the war, the documentary reveals the 22 brutal major battles between the Chinese and Japanese troops on the Chinese battlefield in World War II. It's not easy to do justice to the brutality of battles and heroism shown by the soldiers in the Second Sino-Japanese War. The Chinese people struggled to survive for 8 years. Their suffering were as if a sacrifice to the repeated defeats of their predecessors in a century. However, it also changed the destinies of every Chinese, which led to the negligence and distortion of the solemn and tragic historic event in the following years for over half a century. The English version of the documentary has 3 episodes, with a total length of 300 minutes. Our goal of making this documentary is to build a video monument to the 3.2 million officers and soldiers who sacrificed themselves in the battlefield, and to gain them and their later generations respect and memory of history. Though the respect and memory may not be timely, it should belong to all the officers and soldiers who died to defend our country, belong to our nation and our later generations. The Second Sino-Japanese War was a heroic and tragic age for the Chinese nation. Many people are not familiar with that age. By watching our documentary, people can know the bitter life of the Chinese and the heroism of their soldiers in the war.